In this video, I'm going to show you how to copy files from the ATEM Mini without touching your hard drives to speed up your video delivery. Hi, I'm Aaron Parecki. The ATEM Mini Pro ISO, the Extreme, and the Extreme ISO can all record video to a solid-state drive connected over USB-C. This is a super handy feature to be able to record your broadcasts locally or even just use it as a local recorder without even streaming. And with the ISO models, you're recording all of the inputs simultaneously, which means you can actually go and edit things in post. And that's actually how I'm filming this video. I'm recording this right now to the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO, recording all of the angles all at once, and later I'll go and cut between the different angles to give you the final video that you're seeing on YouTube. Now, after you're done recording, you can pull out the drive and plug it into your computer and edit directly off of the drive. And that is a very handy way to do it, and I sometimes do it that way. But the ATEMs also have a built-in FTP server, which means you can actually copy files over the network and never have to touch that drive. So why is this useful? There's a couple of really cool things this lets you do. For one, it means if you're recording an all-day conference with a bunch of short talks, you can actually publish all those talks the same day, but not even have to worry about swapping out drives. As soon as one talk is done, you just copy the files over the network, edit on your computer while it's still recording the rest of the day. You could also have an ATEM in a remote studio, recording locally, and then download the footage over the network from a control room. Or if you're like me and you're just recording yourself in one room like this, you can copy the files immediately after recording, edit off of that copy, and you'll always have a backup. So having that FTP server does enable a lot of really cool workflows. So let's take a look at how to actually do this. The main thing you're going to need is an FTP client in order to actually go and copy the files from the ATEM over the network. But this may surprise you, you actually already have one. On a Mac, Finder can be an FTP client, and on Windows, so can the File Explorer. There are a couple of limits though, so if you want a specialized FTP client, you can use FileZilla or CyberDuck, and those are available on all the platforms. We're going to take a look at a few of these options step by step, but at a high level, what you'll do is you're going to take your FTP client, connect to the ATEM's IP address on the network. You'll connect in anonymous mode or type in anything as the username and password. It doesn't actually have any authentication. Then you can just start dragging and dropping files off of it onto your local computer. This, of course, does mean you'll need your ATEM on your local network on the same network that your computer is connected to. You technically can do this over VPN as well, but that's a little bit more advanced, and we'll save that for a different video. Basically, if you can connect your ATEM software control to the ATEM over the network, then you're going to use that same IP address to connect to its FTP server. First, let's take a look at Finder. From the menu at the top, click Go and then click Connect to Server. It's going to ask you to type in a server address. Type in ftp://admin:/admin at then the IP address of your ATEM. So mine is 10.11.200.2. Then go ahead and while you're here, click the little plus to add it to your favorites so that you can always get back to it again. And then click Connect. That is going to open up a new Finder window, and you're going to see the name of the hard drive that's plugged into the ATEM. Opening up that drive, you can see what's on my ATEM. I've got a couple of other projects I've recorded from past videos, as well as the one I'm recording right now. This is actually in progress, so I'm not going to copy these, but you can see it is already writing those files. On Windows, the process is very similar. Open the File Explorer, and then in the address bar, again, type ftp:// the IP address of your ATEM. That should open up a new File Explorer window, and you should see, again, the name of the hard drive that's plugged into your ATEM. The limit of doing this on the Mac is that the Mac's FTP client is actually read-only. So you can copy files off of the ATEM, but you can't write anything and you can't delete any of the files. So that might be okay for some use cases, but other times you may want to be able to actually clean up files after you've downloaded them. If you want to do that, you can use a dedicated FTP app that'll work a little bit better. There's a million to choose from. I'm going to use the one called CyberDuck. I think it's a perfectly fine option, and it's available on Mac and Windows. When you open up CyberDuck, you'll get a blank window like this. Click the little plus to add a new bookmark. And for this, again, type in the IP address of your ATEM. And then just click this anonymous login and maybe give it a name. Close this out, and now you can just double click on this to connect to it. And again, you'll see the same thing. Here is the media folder, which is the name of my drive, and all the folders inside of it. When you're ready to actually copy a file, you just go and find the file you want to copy. You can grab the whole project or individual files, and you can just drag them into your main window. You can see here it's copying at pretty nearly 100 megabytes a second, which is about what I would expect on my gigabit network here. There's the file, and sure enough, I can play the file from my computer. If you wanted to, you could just grab this whole folder. Of course, it'll take a lot longer because there's a lot of files in these folders. When you're done with a project, you can actually go ahead and just click delete on one of the files, and it'll go ahead and delete that. I hope I didn't need that file. One thing I noticed is that you actually can copy files from the ATEM while it's still recording. Obviously, don't copy the file that it is actually recording in the middle of recording, but you can copy other files that have already been finished. For example, as I've been recording this video, I'm recording onto this exact drive that I copied files off of during the demo. A couple of little weird things to keep in mind. For some reason, CyberDuck wasn't able to delete the entire folder. It complained about some of the .dot files that it wasn't able to delete. Other apps I was using were able to, so I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. Again, like I mentioned before, this does require that you have direct access to the IP address of the ATEM. So if you're on the same network, like in the same room, it's very straightforward. You can do this over a VPN. Of course, you're going to be limited in terms of the speeds you'll get by the VPN that you're using and the bandwidth at both sides, but it will work. And I have done that between my home and the studio. Setting up a VPN is a whole topic on its own, so I'm going to save that for a different video. One other fun fact is that there is also an FTP server in the HyperDeck recorders, which means you can actually do the exact same workflow from HyperDecks. And you can even load videos into the HyperDeck if you're using it for playback. I think this has already saved me quite a lot of time, not having to worry about dragging hard drives around and being able to access files in an emergency if I've already left the building. Well, thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.